So these are the cones.
Good morning, this is Dylan Mangel with Nebraska Extension, and today we're off for another big day of planting, hopefully up in northeast Nebraska. So it's a long way to get there. We've got to go, we've got to pick up the team, we've got to travel about an hour, pick up the trailer tractor, and drive up north. So if everything goes well, maybe in a couple hours, we could be planting up in Dixie County.
I'll check her. Okay, we're on the road. We're almost getting up to Haskell now. It's already 3 hours after we left. So that just shows like how far apart our fields are. We're moving all over. We've got the tractor with us. We've got Tales and Gio with us today.
Hi.
And we're almost there. So I think we're about 7 minutes away. We made it to Haskell Ag Lab. Now we're heading out to the field. We're gonna start trying to get some planting in, or at least do some layout to begin with. So we want to make a line scratcher to mark the lines. So this weekend I welded up this thing. Let's see if it fits onto the tractor.
A little bit. Oh, got it.
It fits. That's good. The question is, will it scratch a line in the ground? I think it works. I want to weld a harrow tip or something onto the end of that so it scoops differently, but that's just what we had laying around in the shop. It works, man. So we're gonna go crossways to mark our 40-foot sections with that, and that'll help us line up when we're gonna trip a lot better than the flags for this wide one. That's a huge success. Now we're gonna have a great day. Okay, so we're in here. I've got the line scratcher on the back, and I'm gonna add it as a new implement. I'll just call it line scratcher. So we'll add that in here as a 40-foot implement on the drawbar, swath width 40 feet. That's going to be important because our plots are 40 foot long. So we're really just scratching a line, but we're lined up on 40 feet. So let's go back and add this field now. So we've got the implement in, and now we're 40 feet off of that corn edge. We're going to start our first plant. And look, I didn't turn GPS on. Get us back on the line. So we're scratching, that's marking a line. I think a row cleaner might work better as an end for that, but we'll modify that next year. All right, this gets us to a really good spot on this side. I'll scratch this line. That's awesome. There's our line. So instead of flags, we'll mark by scratches. Let me go down to the next one. All right, I got all the rows scratched. So now we are marked for where we need to plant, and we're about to start planting. We're going to start on range 2. So we've got a small little trowel that's going to go in here in the front, but I'm going to pull around. We're actually going to end up starting 80 feet up from this flag. But I'm gonna set up my field first from the opposite direction of what I just did. Same as last time, we got lines scratched. We're lined up. I don't have the planter yet, but I'm gonna do a little bit of a walking count and make sure we've got the right number of plots, because similar to last time, we've got maps we've got to follow closely. So we are on the line. These two old bean rows are gonna be plot 1/2. Okay, we're all set up and we're gonna start planting. We just loaded the planter, and I'm gonna roll up and get going. We changed our population a little bit, so I wanna make sure that's happy, and then we'll get it set. All right, we're topping off seeds a little bit. Everything's been going quite well. We have that whole trial in the background done. How dirty is this? What's going on? Whole trial in the background done, and we just lost GPS. The light on here went out. I followed it, and We burned out a fuse. All right, we're getting ready to plant one of the next trials. We're one field up, so the back in the distance behind me is that last field. And this one's a little bit different. We're switching to cones on the planter, so we can do really short, highly controlled seed application. There's pros and cons of all of this, but I'll show you a little bit of how our cones work. So these are the cones. Whatever you put in the top of this cone, right in there, is gonna come down here. It's gonna go in this clear part, and then when we pull this lever, that's gonna lift up, and everything in there is gonna fall down to here. Now that cone is driven by the drive wheel, so when we spin this, you can see the cones will turn. And when they turn, any seed that's in the cell right above that hole is gonna fall down the seed tube and then get planted. So we plant weird stuff. Sometimes we plant more than just seeds. Sometimes we'll plant other grains. Sometimes we'll plant inoculum. Sometimes we'll just whatever. We do a lot of weird experimental stuff. And the cones allow us to do this. So what I need to do though is change the speed at which these cones are going to make one full revolution. And to do that, I changed the gears. So the gears I'm trying to get to, I've added extra gears onto this one to get a wider range. But I need to get to a specific gear, and that is to a 20-foot plot length. That will be a drive of 24 and a driven of 26. So the drive is already on 24. That's this second one. The driven is 26, it's on 24. Now I need to shift up one gear, and then this will empty itself in 20 feet. And that will be exactly what we want it to be. It's getting even windier, but we're gonna keep going. We're just not gonna spray today. So I'll shift up that gear. I've got to do some chain management and bring that slack around the bottom side. I want to pull the back tight, bring the slack around, and then we end up with this little gizmo that holds it. There. Now we're tight. So now, when this rolls 20 feet, the seed will have emptied itself. All right, so it was a long day. We tried to rush and get a bunch of stuff in, and we did a good job. But we got it all done except for one trial, so we'll be back maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day, depending on weather. All right, it's Wednesday, and we're back again trying to go up and finish planting at Haskell Ag Lab. It should be an interesting day because we're just going to plant one trial at that site. Then we've got to spray a pre-emerge on the whole site. Hopefully it's not too windy. And then we're going to pick up the tractor and move it all the way down to Schuyler, Nebraska, where we're going to plant another really small field. But hopefully if transport goes well, we'll be able to jump off and plant that and then reload and take everything back to INREC so we can plant corn there tomorrow. We made it out to the field. We're getting set up. We did stop and throw our sprayer in the back of the truck on the way here, but now we're making our way to the field. We have one last trial to plant. I've planted everything around it and I've got lines marked and everything, so we are ready to go. And Diksha and Giovanna are here with me today, so they're gonna run the planter. All right, so we're blowing through this trial. Everything's going pretty well. No problems so far. We had to change the plot length because we went from a 15 up to a 40 on these ones. I'm lining up with the lines that we scratched on Monday. And Giovanna and Diksha are back there running the planter. We've laid out all these packets so we know exactly what's going where. And Diksha's dumping them and we're putting them in there and she's pulling those, and then they release them, and then I drive. Giovanna also has a map and she's verifying everything we're doing as well, and we're good to go. So then I drive 40 feet. That's conveniently right when we program the seed to run out. there we are. So we'll do it over and over and over again. Next plot. So we've got, several hundred of these, but we get pretty quick at it. And we just go one after another until we've got it all done. So Giovanna's driving. It's about 7:30 p.m. We just made it back to campus. We had a long day. Sorry I didn't do as many updates as I wanted to. We planted that last trial at Haskell. Gio and Diksha ran the planter for a while. Sometimes it's nice just to take it slow and spend the time training others on how to get those skills so that they can, ultimately make us faster in the future. They both did a great job. After that, we finished planting that filled out in bulk. And then after that, we packed up. We couldn't spray because it was too windy again. Then we went and drove down to Schuyler, Nebraska, put in another trial in Schuyler, Nebraska. It was really small. We just whipped in, planted that, and then moved on. Took us maybe an hour and a half or so. Went back to INREC by Mead, put our equipment back in the shed, got it all set up and ready for tomorrow, and then made our way back here. So a full day. Once again, I can't be more wrong in how long I think things are going to take. And then it's like they always take twice as long as I think. So it never ceases to amaze me. But made it back. Everyone did fine. And we're going to be back at it again in the next couple days. So thanks everyone for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't yet. And we'll keep you updated. And if anyone happened to look or didn't see it or whatnot, we did do a live stream while we were planting today. We live streamed that planting process for a little while, and we talked about what we're doing in the field. We talked about diseases. So try and find that live stream on our channel if you're interested.